Hello everyone, let's learn how to slice a pandas data frame. Quick recap about slicing. Whenever we slice a type in Python, you get a sliced version of the exact same type. For example, when you slice a list, you get a list. When you slice a series, you get a series. Similarly, when you slice a data frame, you're going to get a data frame. Since data frames are two-dimensional entities, we'll have to explicitly mention details about row slice, followed by a comma, then followed by details about column size. We can use iloc and loc just like we have been using those for looking up a certain data entry within the data frame. When we use iloc, we are going to use row integer position and column integer position to mention the corresponding slices. Whereas when we use loc, we are going to use row index position and column index position to mention the corresponding slices. Let's take a quick peek at the data frame that we've been using so far. Let's say that I'm interested in getting a slice of the middle two players' score values alone. I can do that by saying df.iloc, and for the row slice, I can simply say 1:3. That's because B is at row integer position 1. And recall that when you're using integer position, your end is always exclusive when it comes to slicing. So I'm going to say 1:3, and for the column I can just simply say 1 : that's because player name is at column 0 and score is going to be at column 1 with respect to integer positions. Now if I go ahead and extract the slice, you're only going to get the score positions against the row entries for B and C over here. We can always skip mentioning the start of the column slice or the end of the column slice. That's going to get us all columns when we mention just a colon over here. Notice that now we are getting all the details corresponding to B and C. I can also use LOC, and I can mention the row slices B:C and the column slices all the columns. That's going to give me the exact same result over here. Slicing is pretty powerful in Pandas data frame. It not only enables us to extract part of the data frame, but also enables us to set a specific columns value for that part of the data frame. The syntax for that is very simple. You just mention the slice that you're interested in and just say equal to new value. Let's say that I'm interested in updating the scores for Bob and Cindy over here. I can do that by saying, first of all, getting the slice for Bob and Cindy by mentioning B:C for the row slice and also mentioning score for the column index over here. That's going to retrieve Bob and Cindy score for me. So if I simply say plus equal to 5, and if I go ahead and display data frame, notice that now Bob's score is updated to 20 and Cindy's score is updated to 13. We don't have to essentially restrict ourselves to mentioning a slice within the row parameter configuration over here. Recall that Pandas allows us to mention complicated expressions within the square brackets that will include mentioning a list of row index values which we want to update. Let's say that I'm going to change my specification slightly. Instead of updating Bob and Cindy score, let's say that I want to update Bob and Dan's score. Notice that Bob and Dan are not consecutive rows, which means that a direct slicing will not enable you to perform the update using a single command. Instead of that, you can just mention a list of row index positions. So let's say that I can say df.loc, and in place of the column, I can simply say extract that player name, and in place of row I can have a list of values over here, and the values are going to be row index positions. Let's say that I want to extract the player name for B and D. Notice that we are getting the correct values. So now that I know this expression works, I can replace player name with score, and now I will be able to update score for Bob and Dan over here. Let me go ahead and display data frame. Notice that now Bob's score is incremented to 22 and Dan's score is incremented to 13. Really powerful because you can mention complicated expression within the square brackets. Let's talk about Boolean indexing. Boolean indexing is super powerful on a series. It's similar, it is very similar when it comes to data frames as well. Recall that when you apply a Boolean series to a series S, you're going to get all the values in S that satisfy that particular Boolean series. Similarly, you can apply a Boolean series to a data frame that's going to pull out all the rows that satisfy that particular Boolean series. Let me give you examples of that over here. Let's say that we are interested specifically in the score columns within this data frame. I can pull out the score column by saying df of score. And then within the score column, let's say that I'm interested in extracting the score of all the players, which is greater than or equal to 15. I can simply do that by saying df of score is greater than or equal to 15. Recall that that will give me a Boolean series. Because we are applying a specific condition, you're going to get a Boolean series out of this. I can capture this Boolean series into a variable called b, and I can simply apply b to the original df by saying df of b over here. So that's going to extract only the Bob row because only Bob has a score of greater than or equal to 15. Recall that you can always mention the entire comparison expression within the square bracket. So you can say df of score greater than or equal to 50. That's going to give you the same result as before. Right. The next thing which I want to talk about is how to read a CSV data into a data frame. Recall that we downloaded a CSV file called imdbmoviedata.csv at the beginning of the lecture. If you haven't already downloaded that, pause the lecture video here and please go ahead and download that file. It's very easy to read a CSV data using pandas. So the syntax for that is simply going to be pd.read_CSV, and that's going to be the function name, and as an argument you'll have to just mention the name of the CSV file that you're interested in reading. So I'm going to mention the name of the CSV file. I'm going to capture the output into a data frame, and let me go ahead and display data frame over here. So one excellent thing about pandas data frame is that when you read a CSV data, it automatically converts the number based columns into integers or whatever they represent. For instance, the year is going to get converted into N64 and the rating is going to get converted into a floating point data type corresponding to that particular column. Recall that whenever you had to process a CSV file, you always had to explicitly typecast non-string columns into the corresponding type that you're interested in. Pandas makes all of our lives easier, so this is already taken care of for you. Notice that we have a big CSV file over here which has 998 rows and 9 columns. Pandas will only display the top 5 or 6 rows and the bottom 5 or 6 rows, and then it will just mask the rest in between. So I'm going to show you how to take a peek at the top of the data frame which contains multiple rows like this instead of displaying the entire data frame. Recall that I showed you a command called as head command, which you can run on your terminal or on your PowerShell. which will enable you to take a peek at the first few lines of any file. Pandas has a similar option. So you can say df.head, and just like the bash command, it gives you the first few lines of your data frame. You can also mention the number of lines that you want to get by saying df.head of 3. That's going to give you the first 3 lines of your data frame over here. Recall that we saw a counterpart bash command called tail that's going to enable us to look at the end of the file. Similarly, you can look at the last few rows of the data frame by saying df.tail over here. All right, let me go ahead and show you how to extract a specific column, because this is a real data set that we are going to work with. So let's say that I'm interested in extracting the year column. I can simply say df of year. That's going to get us all the values corresponding to year column. Similarly, I can say df of rating. That's going to get us all the values corresponding to rating column over here. If you had really sharp eyes, you would have noticed that there is something weird about this particular data frame. I have an index column over here, and I also have the exact same value as part of the row index, right? So why exactly is that the case? That happened because I used that incorrect format to write the data from this data frame into a CSV file. So I'm going to show you how to fix this particular problem right now. So the first question here is asking, how can you use slicing to get rid of the first column? Recall that you can slice into a data frame by using ilog, and I can simply say give me all the rows, but I only want to retain one of these index columns. So I'm going to say give me everything from first column up until the end of my columns over here. So I am going to go ahead and capture this into a different data frame, and let me go ahead and display better over here. Notice that now we are only getting one of those index columns, which is a good thing. Let me show you first the wrong way to write data from a data frame to a CSV file, so that none of you will be using this, hopefully. So the function that we are going to use to write data to a CSV file is very simple. It's just going to be to underscore CSV, and as a parameter we'll have to mention what is the name of the CSV file that we want to write into. Let me first show you the incorrect way of doing this. So I'm going to call my file as wrong_movies.csv. So once I run this, I'm going to be able to see this CSV file which I just wrote. Notice that we still have this row index written into our CSV file. The correct way to write a CSV file from a data frame is by saying that we do not want to write the index, and the way that you can say that is by using the index parameter, and you have to pass a value of false to it. So this time it's going to create a new file called better_movies.csv. Notice that we now no longer have the index value over here. So you always need to be really careful when it comes to writing data from a data frame to a CSV file. All right, the next thing which I want to talk about is this particular question over here. This is asking what is the highest rated movie that had an above average running time. There are many aspects over here. Let me focus on the runtime first. I'm first going to capture better into df so that I can use a shorter name over here. So let me extract runtime column. So if I want to compute average runtime, I can simply say df of runtime dot mean. That's going to give me average runtime. So I'm interested in movies which have above average runtime. So I'm simply going to say give me all the movies whose runtime is greater than the average runtime. So I'm going to say df.runtime is greater than df.runtime of dot mean, and I can capture the output of this comparison into a variable called b. I'm going to get a Boolean series because I'm performing the greater than comparison operator. I can simply apply this Boolean series to my original data frame. That's just going to give me all the movies which have runtime of above average timing. Just a quick peek at this is able to confirm that all of the runtimes for the movies displayed over here is greater than the average runtime, which was around 113. So I am going to go ahead and capture this into a variable called long movies, and let me go ahead and display long movies over here. So next thing which I want to do is I want to compute the highest rated movie that had above average runtime, right? So let me go ahead and extract ratings over here. So among those rating, I'm interested in the max rating. So let me go ahead and compute max by calling the max function. And for the max rating of 9, I want to find out the movies which have such a rating among all the long movies. So I can simply do that by saying rating equal to rating dot max, and this is going to give me a Boolean series. I can just take that entire Boolean series and apply it to my long underscore movies data frame in order to get the longest maximum rated movie which has above average runtime. Looks like that's The Dark Knight. Right, the last thing which I want to show you is a describe function, which is super useful. It computes a lot of statistics which are very useful from a data frame. It returns a data frame of statistics. So let me go ahead and call the describe function on the data frame df. I'm going to capture the return value into a variable called stats. Notice that we are getting a lot of statistics, including count of number of rows, mean, standard deviation, min, max, and also 25th, 58th, and 75th percentile over here. Interesting that we are only getting 3 columns over here, right? Our data frame had way more columns than just 3. That's because describe function only operates on number based columns. So you're only going to get corresponding details about the number based columns. It's a good sign that all 3 of these columns have same count of rows. That means that we have a complete data set, at least with respect to these 3 columns. 50th percentile is special, right? That's because that represents median. Let's say that you're asked this question of how to get median runtime of all movies. You can simply do that by saying that you want to look up the row corresponding to 50th percentile by using row index 50% and also the column index as runtime over here. That's simply going to give you the median runtime for all the movies. So the type of the variable stats here is also a data frame, just like I mentioned before. Data frame is really powerful. Keep in mind that the question that we just went through with the IMDb dataset would have possibly taken you around at least 30 to 40 lines of code before you started using pandas. So we were able to take such a complicated question and answer it just exactly using one line of code within pandas data frame. Pandas is a really cool and awesome module. Please make sure to explore it really well. We'll be using pandas for many other topics that are to follow as part of the next few lectures. It's not that we are wrapping up the entire discussion over here. Even though we are done with the pandas topic as such, we'll be using it extensively. All right, I'll go ahead and wrap up this video here. I'll try to make a short video about the worksheet for today's lecture.